Hello, my name is Zhang Chen. I'm from Vietnam. I'm studying in environmental science in Plymouth University. In this video, I'm going to interview some of the students studying here about their opinions of the differences between a developed and developing country. In order to help them with the comparisons, I collect some of the pictures of pollutions in Hanoi, Vietnam, as represent for developing countries, and some pictures from Finland as developed countries, and ask them what do they think about these differences. Let's take a look at the answers.
I'm Bidan, full name Bidan Tamang Bomjan. I'm from Kathmandu, Nepal. The course I'm currently doing is civil engineering.
So how often do you see pollution?
Currently, in my day-to-day life, not that much, but back in Nepal, it was the pollution compared to here in Plymouth, it was really exponentially greater. It's maybe because people didn't have a sense of duty or sanitation, because so maybe that was the reason. But let's just say there's a lot of pollution.
So since you study in you're studying in Plymouth right now and you live in Nepal, just last year. So what do you think that is the difference between domestic pollution in developing and developed countries?
I think the main difference is about the mentality of people, because if you think about it, in developed countries people have less problems and they are more focused on what they want to do, because since they have less problems they can focus and they can put more resources into those things. Whereas in underdeveloped or developing countries like mine, people can't fully utilize all the resources, and there's so many problems that they have to go, and there's so many problems that they need to focus on, that you can't just focus on one aspect like being pollution, because there's so many different aspects you need to focus on. So that's one of the reasons, and the second is the mentality as well. And the main difference I can see here is the level of execution done here, because just because it's an underdeveloped or developing country doesn't mean they don't care about the environment. They obviously do care, looking at the pictures, and they do have people and resources which are focused on recycling and conserving the environment. But as I said before, the focus is not so great and the resources not so vast that they can do it properly, whereas in developed countries they always have the manpower and technology to do it better. As for my opinion, for why these differences exist, since I already talked about people and resources, maybe we can just talk about the technological advances technological advancements as well. So obviously, if you look at the pictures, you can see that one of them is really technologically advanced, and they know what they're doing. They use the best up-to-date technology to for cleaning up the environment and taking care of it. Whereas in underdeveloped or developing countries, you can see that people are still using out-of-date equipment.
I'm Julia Lakota. I'm from Poland, so it's a middle developing part, country. It's more developed than not developed, if it makes any sense, but it's not fully developed.
Okay, so how often do you see pollution?
To be honest, I see it a lot. I have a house in the mountains, which is secluded from any towns whatsoever, and whenever I walk there, it's just completely clean, and the sky is beautiful at night because you can see lots of stars. And even if you stay in a village in Poland, you cannot see any stars at all. So it makes me really sad. I'm obsessed with the sky, and you can't see stars whatsoever just because of the light pollution. Also, if you just go on the street, it's not even Poland. In Poland, we actually try to keep the streets clean. But in England, the first time I came in here, everything was just covered in some papers from McDonald's from the night before, and I think the city spends actually lots of money to keep the streets clean, just because people just throw stuff on the ground every time. They don't bother to go and find a bin.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what do you think about the differences between the developed and developing countries?
I think in undeveloped countries, government doesn't bother spending more money on such like issues like pollution just because they want to put the money they have into developing the country. So they care more about, for example, education. But I think in Finland they collect the waste more often because there's no waste lying whatsoever around the bins. Whereas like in Vietnam, the bins are like overfull. They're just like the waste is probably falling off them. Well, in Poland, on streets, we don't really have much rubbish or like pollution, but sometimes if you go to the forest, you can see bags of like waste just dropped there, even toilets or that are not used anymore. It's just less expensive to throw it away. And before they just go and like on the entry to the forest, they just park their car and just throw everything away, and it's just cheaper. So they do it a lot, unfortunately.
My name is Dan and I'm from Canada. Slash Hong Kong, but I live in Hong Kong, so.
How often do you see pollution?
Because I'm living in Hong Kong, I see pollution a lot. It's a very densely populated city, and I know every night when I go to sleep, there's also like there's some light coming through. It's like light pollution. The water quality isn't that great over there. Like we can't even use it to drink like in the UK because it's treated heavily with chemicals and stuff, and the sodium level is really high there because it's soft water. As for air pollution, don't even get me started on air pollution. The news falsely reports that the air pollution there is actually fog, but it's actually smoke. And also it's so bad that now they have a pollution indicator there, which tells you what activities you can and cannot do for that day in schools. So, like on some days, if the pollution indicator is high, like everyone like stays indoors. Like the kids all stay indoors. They're not allowed to go play outside. So yeah, it's pretty bad. And there were, I don't know, actually no, there are recycling bins in Hong Kong, but like nobody uses them really. I don't know if they use in the UK, but at least I see a lot more of it, I think. And the rivers seem quite dirty. I'm quite used to that. I mean, in Hong Kong it's about the same. The water is green.
Oh, that's black.
Huh?
That's black though.
Oh, that's a whole new level.
So what do you think? Like, why there's a difference
Why there's a difference?
in the developed and developing countries?
Obviously, it's cheaper and more efficient to produce stuff without caring about the environment. Because you won't care about where the material comes from. You get from cheap sources.
On the pollutions. What can the government do?
What can the government do? Well, I can only speak about Hong Kong.
Okay.
Because they have like a scheme there now where if you drop a piece of trash on the floor, you get fined like 1,500 Hong Kong dollars, which is about 140 pounds. Like even if it's like a piece of paper or like something. I've heard actually. My dad's co-workers, they dropped a piece of tissue on the ground, and the police officer was like, "Don't pick it up! Don't pick it up! I'm gonna fine you!" Yeah, because they love finding people over there. Apparently. I don't know if that's a solution. And I also see like repeating the pictures. Like there are recycling bins in the finished pictures, and obviously no recycling bins in the Vietnam pictures, where they're all put in a single bin and probably driven off to a landfill. And obviously this is due to, I think that's due to like the government's fault of not implementing effective waste treatment. And obviously people will be discouraged by that, because if they separate their waste and they put it in different bins, or even, actually no, there are not even any separate bins in these pictures, so they can't even have the option of separating the waste. People just won't do it, because it won't make a difference anyways. Yeah.
So to conclude this, I just want to say that there is a huge difference between a developed and developing countries' pollutions. However, we can always improve that by raising awareness and hand out like informations of how we can protect our environment. Thank you for watching.